Tim McCool with the Mastercraft Flooring Company, and I'm the technical director for the company, and we're going to talk about fasteners today. We are wanting to make sure that when you go to install your pre-finished hardwood floor that the correct fastener is used. There are a lot of different lengths and gauges and types of fasteners, and we're going to go over the variety that are here. When you use an incorrect fastener, we know that some different issues can happen to the floor. So some of the issues could be that you could get some noise from the floor, movement, boards could come loose. So we just want to make sure that the floors are getting installed with the correct fasteners and done with the correct equipment, and that equipment is set up correctly. So we'll be touching base on all three of these issues. All right, so what we want to talk about now is getting the material to the job site, making sure that site is ready for the material. That is making sure that the job site is in a lived-in condition. Once we know that that's correct, then we will go ahead and check the subfloor. Industry standards for a subfloor is that they are clean, dry, flat, and sound. Making sure that that subfloor is ready to accept the wood floor prior to installation is a job that is required and that needs to be done. The next thing that you want to do is make sure that you know what flooring you're installing. Each floor, we have a variety of sizes. It will range from 3/8 from 9/16 to 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch, and making sure you have the appropriate fastener, that you will go ahead and use the correct fastener to put down the floor, use the correct gun. With the equipment that you have, it all takes setup of the compressor, making sure that you get the correct air volume coming through so it will drive the fastener in an appropriate fashion and seat it correctly within the tongue side of the board, and then it will fasten it tight to the subfloor. If those things are done correctly, you'll have a really successful installation. One of the nice things that we've done at the Mastercraft is we've put together a really nice chart to be able to show you what fastener you need, what gauge, what length. It's all on our chart that you can download from the website. The beautiful thing about this, it talks about all the different varieties of thickness of materials, widths of materials, and then be able to get you onto the right fastener. Being able to get the right fastener to put the floor down with is crucial in making sure that you have a successful installation. Once I get to the job site, when I'm ready to get the guns out to start doing some nailing, we just want to make sure that the fasteners are driven in an appropriate fashion. So what I will do is I'll get the nailer as well as the fasteners. This happens to be a stapler. And then I would from there get my air compressor and go ahead and drive a few fasteners in a board just to test to make sure that I am putting the fasteners in the correct position in the nail pocket. That way I'm comfortable that I'm doing the best I can to make sure that that will be a successful installation. Once I've done my test board, I will go ahead and drive the fasteners till I get to the point where the fasteners are seating in the nail pocket correctly. If you start with lower pressure and start working up to an appropriate pressure, obviously that one's really high. This one that is proud, meaning that it's slightly above the nail pocket, it does a couple of different things. It can create gaps in the floor because the next board will not slide in there because that nail is proud. It can also create movement in the floor. So the idea of having proud fasteners can really be a problem in a floor of gapping and movement, which will create squeaks. Correct nailing is what we're looking for. And when you get to the overdriven fasteners, the overdriven fasteners create a problem all on its own. It will actually push out material out of the bottom of the board. With that, it will actually elevate this section of the board off of the subfloor. Areas on both sides will be tight. You can get movement. All it takes is about 20 thousandths, about the thickness of a business card, to be able to get movement, which is undesirable and can create noise and squeaks and pops and other issues. So we really want to make sure that the fasteners are seated correctly, and overdriven, underdriven, we got to make sure we're in the nail pocket and correct. there's a lot of opinions out there whether it should be a staple or a cleat. And we recommend both. So either one is an acceptable fastener. Whether it's a staple or a cleat, we deem both of them to do an acceptable job. We would recommend that you pay more attention to the length of the fastener and the gauge of the fastener as the requirements in the instructions, as well as making sure that the air pressure is adjusted correctly on your tool so that the fasteners are driven correctly and seat into the nail pocket correctly.